How's it going, everyone? Marriland here, and that's right, it's time for more of Marriland's Pokemon Ultra Moon walkthrough adventure. So, last time we checked out Iki Town, and now we're gonna get some Pokemon. So, Kukui, he's all like, Marriland, hurry it up, cousin, pretend you're a Pokemon and use agility. Alright, that sounds great. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, he's very into Pokemon moves. So we're gonna head along this path this time, over to the right, and that leads us to the same Route 1 as earlier, except just another part of it. Yeah, over here! Alright, so we're gonna get a lesson from the professor himself. So, you know that wild Pokemon will sometimes jump out at you in the tall grass, yeah? Now that you got Rowlet there, you can not only fight wild Pokemon, yeah, you can also try to catch them, woo! I'm going to show you how to catch a wild Pokemon, alright? Keep your eyes on the prize. Alright, time for a tutorial fight against a Grubbin. So, Kukui here, he's going to show you what it takes to catch a Pokemon. Basically, you'll want to weaken it using usually a weak attack. If you're too strong, you'll knock it out, and you can't catch Pokemon that are knocked out. Once you've weakened it enough, you'll want to use an item called a Pokeball. Now, if you're not familiar with the Pokemon series, you might wonder, well, what the heck is a Pokeball? That's basically the thing that you use to catch Pokemon. It's pretty standard. If you have any familiarity with Pokemon at all, you probably know about it, but just in case you don't, that's what it looks like. It's a little round ball, you use it, you catch Pokemon in it. It's kind of like a storage container for them. I know, this probably will make anyone who's watching this video laugh, except for probably the 2 or 3 people who've never played a Pokemon game before, but you know what? I figure it's worth explaining. Anyway, alright, got myself a Grubbin. Wild Pokemon do sometimes attack people if they get close, but catch them and they'll join your team and be a great help to you, yeah. And if your Pokemon get all tuckered out, you can always head home and rest up a bit, yeah? Here are some Pokeballs and potions to get you started out. Yeah, so the professor here, he gives you 10 Pokeballs, which seems like a lot, but you'll burn through them pretty quickly. And 5 potions. Nice. Why don't you have a little adventure of your own on the way to Iki Town, yeah? Take good care of Marriland, Rowlet. Alright, so this is kind of important if you are familiar with the Pokemon games, and if you are familiar with the Nuzlocke challenge or any of its variants, there is a forced encounter here. You will always run into a Grubbin as your first encounter here. It's right here. Yeah, it's pretty much forced. So if you kind of want to play by the Nuzlocke rules, which are a really fun way for more advanced Pokemon fans to enjoy the series, you might want to skip this encounter because otherwise, every single time you play, you'll always have a Grubbin on your team here. Now, Grubbin, it's an okay Pokemon. It's a bug type. It evolves into Charge Bug and then into Vikavolt. Vikavolt's really cool, but the problem is you don't actually get it to evolve until the game is nearly over. Yeah, it's a long time. So, I'll be doing full Pokemon reviews on a separate video. I did kind of mention this earlier on, but in short, I don't really recommend Grubbin because although it's alright, you're going to be stuck with something rather lackluster for most of the game, and it just doesn't quite seem worthwhile. And even as Vikavolt, it's okay, but it's not great in my opinion. Alright, so I just want to knock this thing out to get some experience from it. The higher the Pokemon's level is, the more experience you'll get. Plus, in case you are not familiar with how experience works in Generation 7 games, like Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, the closer your levels are to wild Pokemon, the more experience you'll get from them. And the farther away they are, the more it changes. So for instance, if you have a higher level Pokemon that knocks out a lower level Pokemon, you'll gain less than if they were at the same level. And if you knock out a higher level Pokemon than the Pokemon that you were using to fight it, you'll get more experience than you would if they were at the same level. It's kind of proportionate experience. So, one thing that's really important to mention, again, if you're new to Pokemon games, don't feel like you have to fight every single Pokemon. Even though, yeah, it's alright and all, you get experience, and it's pretty good to get experience. It does take time, and oftentimes you're better off just running away. It does save time in the long run, and you really don't need everything. Although, realistically, I probably should have caught the Grubbin anyway. So, let's talk about items. If you're on the overworld, sometimes you'll see these little Pokeball things. You can press A by them, and you pick them up. In this case, there's a Pokeball right here. Yeah, I know you just got 10, but already you're getting another one, which is a really good thing. So, in the Pokemon series, there are a whole bunch of people that want to battle you using their Pokemon. They are Pokemon trainers, and as you go through routes and areas, you'll find a bunch of them that you need to fight. So this girl here, she'll be your first Pokemon trainer that you fight, other than How, of course. And thankfully, she's not as tough. Last Audrey, she has a Buneary. Oh, it's so adorable. I love Buneary. I seriously do. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. I love rabbits. Anyway, so for this, I'm just gonna go for Leafage. Alright, this shouldn't be too bad. So one thing, just in case you're new to the Pokemon series, I figure I should mention it. Do not use Pokeballs on trainers' Pokemon. You can catch wild Pokemon, but you're not what's called Team Rocket. You're not going to be stealing other people's Pokemon. That's not right. No, you can only toss Pokeballs at wild Pokemon. That's very important. Anyway, let's fight against this guy. Go for it, Caterpie. Show me the power of Bug-type Pokemon. Yep, so we're gonna be fighting another bug, but this is a bug that we haven't seen before. He's got a Caterpie. All right, Jimmy. So thankfully the trainers around here are very weak. They're more just kind of practice trainers. They don't really pose any threat to you, but as you can see, Ruffleshot, he's getting a little weak. You do not want that green bar in the bottom left corner to reach, well, 0, because that's when the Pokemon faints. And since this is the only Pokemon I have, that's not good. It's kind of like a game over. If that happens, you end up going to the last place, well, we haven't seen it yet, but a Pokemon Center, as it's called. Or in this case, we'd end up going back to Mom's house, which is kind of embarrassing. But you know, that is something to mention. I think we'll go for that right now, unless I run into a wild Pokemon, which actually I wouldn't mind doing. Let's see what kind of wild Pokemon we get here. It's a Pikipek. All right, so Pikipek, it is a normal flying type Pokemon. On the route, it's actually not that bad, to be honest. It's pretty good. Early on, it gets access to some decent moves. I don't really need it, but I'm gonna catch it anyway. It's not a, well, okay, I guess I got a critical hit. Now, critical hits, you'll get those from time to time, and time to time you'll have them against you. They're basically attacks that do 50% more damage than usual. In older Pokemon games, it was twice as much damage, but they changed that starting with Pokemon X and Y. So, sometimes that can be rather inconvenient when you're trying to catch a Pokemon. Now, since this thing is flying, and since we've knocked it out once before, you may notice on the bottom screen, it says effective, not very effective, and so on. So, after you have knocked out a Pokemon, it will then tell you, in your move selection screen, basically how effective moves are. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to remember every single type matchup. This was introduced in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Some people don't like it, but generally speaking, it's not that bad. I find it to be pretty helpful. Now, while catching Pokemon, sometimes you actually want to use not very effective moves, just because you know they'll do less damage. In this case, Peck, it's a super effective move, because flying is super effective against grass. Yeah, there's a big type chart of what moves are effective against what types. Every move has a type, and every Pokemon has 1 or 2 types. And basically, the move's type versus the Pokemon's type determines how much damage it does. Alright, so we caught a Pikipek. I'm not gonna care for poor Ruffleshot here. But let's see what it says about Pikipek. Every time you catch a Pokemon, it adds it to your Pokedex as being caught. If you've seen the Pokemon, you can get basic information on it, but you won't get the full information until you've caught it. So, Pikipek, the woodpecker Pokemon, it is 1 foot, weighs 2.6 pounds, and it may look spindly, but its neck muscles are heavy duty. It can peck a tree at 16 times per second. All right. You can also turn it around using the control stick, and you can zoom in and out by using L and R. You can press Y to hear its cry, and you can press X to see it do some kind of an action. Either an attacking animation or just kind of a stationary thing. And if you use your stylus, you can just pause it. Stay right there. Okay, anyway, that's just kind of playing around with that. So you can also give, you know, your Pokemon a nickname. I did that for my Rowlet. I'm not going to be nicknaming everything, but Pokemon that I do intend to use full-time on my team, I may be nicknaming. Alright, so if you open up your menu, there's a whole bunch of options here now that I haven't really explained because, you know, they're kind of new at this point. So probably the most important one is Pokemon here. This brings up your party roster. It shows you all the Pokemon that you have in your party. You can have up to 6 Pokemon on your team at any one time. Any other Pokemon, they get stored away in a PC, which is kind of weird if you think about it like that, but it's rather important. You can reorder your Pokemon by pressing Y, and then pressing A, and A again to shift their position. Whoever's in this spot up top left, that's who you will send out first in battle. So it's very important that you keep that in mind. Alright, you can also use your stylus to click and drag to rearrange them, which I personally like doing. Alright, so we can get out of here by pressing that. You can give Pokemon held items, not really important right now. So here's the summary again. I think I already kind of went over that. However, one thing I didn't go over, and that's natures. So your Pokemon, they have natures, which you can see if you press over to the right. And in this case, Ruffleshot has a rash nature. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean he has a rash? No, no, no. Pokemon have one of 25 different natures. These natures positively affect one stat and negatively affect the other, or another stat. And depending on the nature, that affects which stats are affected. There are actually 5 natures that do not affect anything. So an easy way to tell this is by looking at the stat grid that you see up top and paying attention to which stat is red and which stat is blue. In this case, special attack, which I kind of went over last time, it's glowing red, right? The text is red. That means that I have a positive nature in that. I get a 10% bonus to those stats. Really handy. Additionally, special defense, that's blue. That means I'll have lower special defense than normal. The other 4 stats, they're just their standard green color, so they're not affected positively or negatively. And that's because I have a rash nature. In this case, Pikipek here has a docile nature, which is one of those natures that doesn't actually affect anything. This isn't super important while playing through the game. Like, for competitive battles, it's immensely important. But if you're just playing through the game, the 10% won't matter that much in the big picture. But it can give you a good idea of, oh, well, this seems like a good idea of a Pokemon to use based on having a good nature, you may hear. So, another thing I guess I should mention, it's pretty much the last thing over here. That's abilities. So, you'll see that Ruffleshot has the ability Overgrow. An ability is kind of like a constant effect on the Pokemon. There's a ton of different abilities. In this case, Overgrow powers up Grass-type moves when the Pokemon's hit points is low. It's a little vague, but in a nutshell, you get a bonus, a 50% bonus to any Grass-type moves, as long as Ruffleshot's hit points, or whichever Pokemon has Overgrow, as long as it's below 1/3. So, it's kind of risky, it's a gamble, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. The other starters have similar abilities, except for their own types. Now, Pikipek has 2 abilities as well. It has Keen Eye, which prevents its accuracy from being lowered, but it also has Skill Link. And it doesn't really matter right now, there's no abilities that make use of it. The description of this is rather vague. Maximizes the number of times multi-strike moves hit. What? I do recommend checking out either Cerebi.net or Bulbapedia. They're sites that I use rather often, and they give a lot better explanation of what the heck this is all about. So I'll have links to those in the description. If ever you're confused as to what an ability does, you know, checking that out is probably a better idea than relying on the in-game text. So yeah, anyway, thought I'd go over that. There's tons of abilities. I won't be explaining them all as I catch Pokemon, don't worry. I just wanted to make sure that I explain that at least at some point in the series, because there may be people that genuinely don't know this stuff. And again, if you are a fan of my channel, you've been around for a while, you know, this stuff will be like, come on, Marriland, why are you talking about the basics? But again, I want a helpful series to even people that are totally new to Pokemon, because not a lot of people do that nowadays. Where does it really explain stats? Like, it doesn't really explain them that much anymore. You're just kind of expected to figure it out. And it's not rocket science or anything, but you know, you might not know if you're new to the series. So that's why you're kind of glossing over the basic concepts in the first few episodes. It's something I'll kind of be doing just to help out newer players. Anyway, this is important if you are kind of getting a little weak. You can go back and talk to your mother, and she will heal up your Pokemon. But on top of that, the first time you come back to her, she even has a little gift. She has a Pokeball for you. There we go. Yeah, if ever your Pokemon get kind of weakened from battle, you can just go back and talk to her and she'll heal them all up. All right, now let's check out a few of the other Pokemon in the area. And just like that, I got a Grubbin. Alright, let's take a look at this Grubbin. Again, I'm not intending on using it, but might as well show it off. It looks so funny there. It's an interesting Pokemon, to say the least. Alright, it spits a sticky thread to stop opponents in their tracks, and then it grabs them in its sharp, sturdy mandibles to take them down. Yikes. Okay, so I'm back up here by youngster Jimmy. There's this item over here by the trees. It's just a potion, but, you know, it doesn't hurt to have more potions. They heal your Pokemon if you use them by 20 hit points, which is pretty nice at this point in the game. Alright, up this path, we'll find a blocked off area over here. Can't go there yet, nope. But we'll also find a dog. Sweet! No, this is a Rockruff if you were paying attention to Professor Kukui's Pokemon. So this is new to Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. There are a bunch of Pokemon just around the area that you can just kind of interact with. It doesn't really do anything. Like, it doesn't give you any bonuses, but it's kind of cute. You can turn to the right, and then after you've done that, you can turn to the left. And as you do this more, like, the Pokemon will kind of like, it'll be more in sync with you, which is kind of fun. And let's turn to the right. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. And let's turn to the right again. And what do you say we play Peekaboo? All right, where am I? And then whenever you're ready, you press A and surprise! I don't know, it's kind of adorable. Let's turn to the left. See, like that time it was a little slow doing it, but now watch. See, it's gonna pick up its speed. See, now we're quite synced. There we go. All right, and let's stare at it. Hey. Now, after a certain point of doing this, you'll even be able to pet it, which is kind of cute. Like, you have to stare at it, and then you can pet it after that point. So let's just do a little bit more of this. Ah, there we go. Oh, look at that. So it just turned. And let's see, I think, oh shoot. Let's see, which way did it turn? I wasn't paying attention. So at this point, it's trying to guide you. So let's turn to the left, I think. No, I did it wrong. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's really confusing when you're like looking at it at a side like this. Oh, it's staring at me lovingly. So when it does that, it'll kind of approach you. And then you'll get an option to either stare at it or stroke it. You want to stroke it. Give it a little pet on the head. It'll like it. Ah. So yeah, now it's all happy with me. So let's go ahead and stare at it again. Can I do it again? Oh, I can! Alright, let's give it another little pet behind its ear. There you go. You're a good puppy. Okay, now it's time to wave goodbye. See ya! Alright, so now that it's all happy, again, this doesn't really accomplish anything, but I think it's just one of the cutest little additions to the game. Now, whenever you kind of go near it, it'll walk over to you, and it'll want attention, and it's really cute. So let's just go ahead and stare at it again. Maybe it'll want another pet behind its ear. Yep, it does! Come here. Alright, we'll give you another little pet. Yeah, there's a bunch of Pokemon throughout the game that do this. And, you know, it doesn't really accomplish anything. I know I've said that a few times, but it's just kind of one of those things that I think is a cute addition, you know? You can also do change positions, and that just kind of, like, moves where you are. It makes it a little bit more convenient in case you're, like, at a weird angle or something. Alright, it's time to go, Rockruff. See ya. So yeah, we can talk to this here. See that? Rocky loves it when you come by. Oh, Rocky is a nickname I gave my Rockruff, you see. Yep. Alright, so now we've befriended Rocky. So, if we try to go down this way, we're not gonna have any luck. That guy's just gonna be blocking the way. It's not a huge deal. That's the way that we came earlier, remember? So yeah, if you were paying attention in the last episode, I intentionally left this item here. Because I figure I might as well have everything on Route 1 here. It's just a potion. It's not like it was overly helpful at that time, but yeah, it's right there. Okay, so let's talk about other Pokemon, alright? So I'm not really going to be using this Pikipek, but just as an example, at this point in the game, let's say, oh, I want to train up this Pikipek. Well, it's only level 2. It's not very strong. So you're not going to have it winning many battles on its own. So what you want to do is a tactic called Switch Training, where you lead with the weaker Pokemon, and then in battle, you switch out to your stronger Pokemon. That way, you'll get a lot more experience and just opportunity to win, because you really will be fighting an uphill battle using lower level Pokemon. But you need a way to train them up, and at this point in the game, that's pretty much your only option. So let's just kind of show off that, just to get it started here. So this guy, Preschooler Oliver, has a Rattata. And, you know, while we could fight this Pikipek, yeah, or fight with the Pikipek, it's not a good idea. Rattata is a lot stronger. And by the way, if you are an old school Pokemon fan and you're wondering, wait a second, I don't remember Rattata looking like that. That's because in Alola, there are some Pokemon from the Kanto region originally that now have a different form. They have an Alolan form. So this is actually Alolan Rattata. You'll not see the normal Rattata here, except on other trainers' teams. So yeah, there's a few Pokemon in the game like that, but Rattata's probably the first example you'll see. Anyway, let's switch on over to Ruffleshot here, doing that switch training thing. Because Ruffleshot's a lot easier of a fight. Or, it definitely makes for a lot easier of a fight here. So, let's go ahead and use Leafage. It's Rowlet's strongest attack for right now. As you can see, one shot, not even a problem. And, just like that, Pikipek got a nice amount of experience. A lot more than Rowlet. But again, that's because of the proportional experience thing. Okay, so I need to catch some Pokemon, or at least find some, because there are a few Pokemon around here, so let's see if I can show any off. Also, there's one thing I kind of forgot to mention that, I don't know, I'm not really a fan of. Oh, it's Caterpie. That's actually surprisingly a very good Pokemon. Well, Caterpie isn't, but what it evolves into actually is. So, I know that the game is all like, hey, you should weaken Pokemon, and then catch them. And that is typically what you'll want to do. However, on the first route, your first trip through the first route, like at this point in the game, you can actually just toss Pokeballs. You don't have to weaken. They'll catch Pokemon 100% of the time, or at least they should. which is very handy. That doesn't actually work later on in the game. I actually tried that on Ultra Sun. I came back later. It's like, oh, I wonder if that still works. And it didn't. But during your first trip through, like at this point in the game, you can just toss Pokeballs and instantly catch anything. Alright, so Pikipek leveling up to level 4. Whenever you catch a Pokemon, you also gain experience. So you don't miss out on gaining valuable experience here. Now Caterpie, it may seem kind of weak. It's like, well, okay, it's a bug. If you're familiar with the Pokemon series, you know it evolves into Metapod and then Butterfree. And if you're not familiar, now you know. But it's actually really good, and there's a great reason for it. So I'm gonna take this thing along, actually. You'll find out why I like Caterpie so much if you check out my review for this part of Route 1. But in a nutshell, Butterfree is amazing at the point in the game you get it. You'll get it at only level 10, which is really early on. And it has solid moves, and access to Sleep Powder, which puts foes to sleep, plus the ability Compound Eyes, which boosts its accuracy, meaning you have a 97.5% accurate sleep move on a Pokemon with reasonable speed. That's not bad at all. So that's why I definitely like using Butterfree. Let's go ahead and... Oh, I didn't read its Pokédex thing. Well, you know what? That's fine. I'll go ahead and get that in a moment. First, let's give this Caterpie a nickname. Alright, I think I'm just going to name her Naptime. Because that's what it'll be. At least later on, you know? I'm thinking in advance here. So, one thing I definitely recommend with Caterpie, just in case, you know, you're playing along and you get a little bit farther than where I am, it evolves in a Metapod at level 7. However, don't evolve it at level 7. Evolve it at level 9, right when Caterpie learns Bug Bite. Because there's really no reason to evolve it to Metapod right away. Like, seriously, Metapod's not good. You'll still be able to evolve it at the next level, which is very handy. And you'll have Bug Bite, which, although it's not great, like, it's not bad at this point in the game. Oh, there we go. There's another totally new Pokemon. This is Yungoos. And it's unfortunately not all that great, to be honest. It really isn't. It only appears during the daytime, though. At night, you'll find Alola and Rattata instead. Alright, another thing that has been added, you can now press Y to quickly open up your most recently used Pokeball, which is kind of nice. I don't always do that as a force of habit, and also it's a little more tricky going through multiple types of Pokeballs, so you'll find me still going into the bag and doing it that way, but it is a nice shortcut to keep in mind. Oh yeah, there we go. Caught a Yungoos. Yeah, I wish I had better things to say about Yungoos, but it's just so lackluster. It really isn't that great in my opinion. It has high attack, but its other stats are just pretty bad. It doesn't learn like a ton of good moves. Alright, although it will eat anything, it prefers fresh living things. So it marches down streets in search of prey. Oh my. Alright, we're not going to name you. Okay, so let's actually go back and check Caterpie's Pokédex description. That's the other thing over here on the menu, which I kind of forgot to mention. So there are a few different options here in your Pokédex. There's the Alola Pokédex, which shows everything, and then there's a Pokédex for each of the islands in the game. The first island being Melee Island. So we'll just do that for right now. And as you can see, it shows you all the Pokemon around. The ones that are question marks, you haven't seen them and you don't know where they're at. So they're just kind of blank spaces there. Ones that are fully colored in here, they're ones that you've caught. And then ones that are kind of grayed out like this. Those are ones that you've seen, but you haven't caught. So let's take Buneary, for instance. Actually, let's just read Caterpie's description really fast. Its body is soft and weak. In nature, its perpetual fate is to be seen by others as food. That's really sad. Alright, but anyway, Buneary, for instance. Let's go ahead and check out Buneary. So I don't really see much about it other than its type, which is rather helpful. But I can press A to take a look at its habitat. And you can scroll through the different islands. Again, we haven't actually been on these islands yet, but it is handy because some Pokemon are on multiple islands. You can also press Y to zoom in. And as you can see, any of these patches of grass those are places where you'll find Buneary. So I can find Buneary on any of these patches over here, but not the patches down here, which is kind of interesting. It's good to know. If ever you're looking for a specific Pokemon, this will tell you where it's at. Also, let's go over to, where did it go? Where's that Alolan Rattata? That thing's right here. So there's another thing you may notice if you are using this to determine where stuff is. If you zoom in, you'll see that, oh, there's a little moon above its head. That means it only shows up at nighttime. You can't see that if you're not zoomed in, but if you are zoomed in, it does tell you. So that's kind of handy. And similarly with Yungoos, who evolves into Gumshoes, you'll see there's like a sun icon, which is kind of good to know. All right, anyway. A few other things over here. This is your bag. It's where you store your items. Very useful. Keep that in mind. It'll be more useful later on once we get better items. Trainer Passport. That shows you how much money you have. Shows you your trainer ID, how many Pokemon are on your Pokédex, and also all of your kind of achievements on your passport here. You can also press A to adjust your portrait photo, and it's kind of weird. You can use Y to zoom in, zoom out. You can use L and R to like rotate it up and down to do stuff. I like to be just a little weird. So we'll do this. Wait, what? All right. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was just like getting myself positioned. That's what it is. There we go. Perfect. So we're going to save that picture for right now. This will be updated as you change your clothes, but it'll keep that same basic style. All right. That just is whatever someone else interacting with you will see. So put on your best smile or do what I did and don't do anything. All right. So as you approach Iki Town, you'll run into two mysterious figures, and if you've played Sun and Moon, these will be totally new to you. So let's see. Measuring the aura readings here, the numbers appear to be quite high. What do you think, Captain? What was that? Did you say something? I was certainly not distracted by this foolish display of festivity. So there are aura readings in this place. Perhaps it may be the effects of that one they call the Island Kahuna. But everything is so bright here in Alola. Far brighter than we had been told it would be. I find it loathsome, this awful brightness. Even though this is the light we have sought for so long. Yes, I suppose you are right. We must carry out our investigations to return the light to our own world as well, before the blinding one can awaken. You are not native to Alola either, are you? You seem to have come from far away. Yeah, that was kind of weird. And that scene's actually a little different if you're playing Ultra Sun. So I'm gonna jump over to Ultra Sun really quick and show you that scene if you're playing Ultra Sun. And there you go. So yeah, you see two different people if you're playing Ultra Sun as opposed to Ultra Moon. It doesn't play that much of a role, but it is a little bit different. All right, anyway, the last item over here is in this corner. You could have picked this up. It's a Paralyze heal. So it's not overly helpful. It heals a status condition called Paralyze, which isn't exactly fun. You might end up seeing it in a moment. So yeah, anyway, there are a few more Pokemon I want to show you on this route, and there's one more that I want to add to my team, actually. So I'm going to see if I can find those. So give me just a few minutes here, and I will see you in a moment. there's one of the Pokemon I wanted to see. It's Buneary! Yeah, so Buneary is adorable. It's a normal type. It evolves into a Pokemon called Lopunny after it has enough happiness, after it's kind of been in your party for a while and you've taken good care of it. But it has very low happiness. It has 0. Like, this thing will hate you when you first get it, despite the smile on its face. But that's okay. It's alright. Buneary is actually not that bad, even just as a Buneary. So we're gonna go ahead and get it. Now, there's something very important about Buneary. It has 2 abilities. One of them is absolute garbage. It's called Klutz. You really don't want to have a Buneary with Klutz. So hopefully this Buneary will not have Klutz, because that'd be kind of sad. Anyway, let's see what it says. The reason it keeps one ear rolled up is so it can launch a swift counterattack if it's attacked by an enemy. Alright. Let's give it a nickname. Alright, we're gonna call her Hippie Hop. There we go. We got Hippie Hop! So hopefully she has the, the right ability. Hopefully she has Runaway. Otherwise, it's probably best to just catch another one. Realistically, it's that bad. With Klutz, you can't use any held items. And it has Klutz! Ah, darn it. Well, that's rather unfortunate now, isn't it? Because it actually has a pretty good nature, too. A jolly nature. It tends to have better attack than special attack anyway, so lowering special attack isn't bad. Oh, why did you have to have the wrong ability? That's really so sad. Darn it. Yeah, there's not really an easy way to change that early on in the game. Oh well, you know what? I think we might just stick with it. So, there are a few more Pokemon around. Let me see if I can find them. Okay, there's another Pokemon that I've been meaning to encounter. It's Ledyba. Yeah, that thing. It only shows up in the daytime. If you're playing at night, you'll run into a spider thing, a poison, or a bug poison spider called Spinarak. And I'm not gonna be able to see that right now, but yeah, Ledyba. Ledyba. It's really pretty bad. It's very, very, very defensive, but it has, like, no offense. And it doesn't really even have a lot of normal defense. Like, it has a lot of special offense, but it's just so bad for its stats. The only saving grace is it gets, like, some good defensive moves at level 12, but I really don't recommend Ledyba. Now, there's one thing I want to mention about Buneary, okay? And that's the move Splash. Splash is normally an awful move. It has no effect. Let's go ahead and use it. This is what happens. You bounce around. Nothing happens when you use Splash. But I won't spoil why just yet. But hold on to it. Don't get rid of it. You can get rid of Defense Curl, you can get rid of Foresight. Don't get rid of Splash. Trust me on this one. There's something really fun you can do with Buneary with Splash. And the good news is, you can do this even if you have one with Klutz, which is really nice. I was thinking about that a little bit more. Klutz is definitely less than ideal, but it's not the end of the world with this strategy, because you're probably going to use that item anyway. That item, yeah, hopefully you know what's up. If you don't worry, I'll explain it when that time comes, but if you do know what's up ahead, you'll know why Buneary with Splash is pretty fun. Alright, I'm gonna go heal. You know, I realized I forgot to actually catch Ledyba earlier. Let's go ahead and catch this thing. I might as well. There we go. Alright, so what does it have to say about Ledyba? These very cowardly Pokemon join together and use Reflect to protect their nest. Yeah, that seems about right. Alright, now that I have a full team, whenever I catch a new Pokemon, I'll be given this option. So, in this case, I could either add it to my party directly, or just send it to a box, or I can just kind of check out either Ledyba or my other Pokemon. This thing's going straight to the box. Finally! I've been looking for this thing for ages. Yeah, so this is the last Pokemon that I'm going to be showing off on the route. It is the electric type Pichu, which, yes, evolves into Pikachu, and then into Raichu. So, let's go ahead and catch this thing. Now, keep in mind, you can't find Pichu in the patches of grass over by Iki Town. You actually have to search kind of in the northeastern areas. So, yeah. Anyway, we got Pichu. That's awesome. And I'm going to be keeping Pichu in my party simply because it, too, evolves by happiness. So, yeah. Might as well keep it in the party along with my Buneary. Alright, so let's see what it has to say about Pichu here. It has electric sacs in its cheeks. When they're fully charged, Pichu plays very energetically. Alright, well that sounds great. I don't think I'm going to be using Pichu, but I will be adding Pichu to my party. I might change my mind. I kind of had fun using an Alolan Raichu in my Pokemon Moon Adventures series, so maybe we'll go that route again. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this is where I found Pichu, over here by these trees. Alright, so on to Iki Town. Aye, Rockruff. Alright, Rocky, I'm sorry. Here, let me stare at you. Let me give you a little pet for good luck. It, like, sneaks over. It's like, come on. Come on. Alright, there you go. Yeah, you don't really want to just pass a little Rockruff by, huh? Okay, it's time to go. See ya. Alright, enough messing with that. So, onward to Iki Town. Although, before I do, let me swap out. I've been doing some training. I figured I might as well while I'm searching. So, yeah. Get ready for a battle. Though you don't need a heal, so don't worry about that. You don't need a heal. Alright. Here we are in Iki Town. Time for a festival. I love me a good celebration. There's Hala.
The Alola region is made up of our 4 islands, and each island has its own guardian Pokemon. Our festival today is to express our thanks to these great Pokemon guardian deities for always remaining by our sides. Well, we may call it a festival, but it's just this little thing you see here. There may not be many of us, but at least every last one of us here goes all out.
Well, that's great. Okay, so let's go all out against How over here. We're going to be fighting him in a moment. Oh, how's it, Marriland? Man, I thought you'd never make it. Me and Poppy have been waiting for ages. Sorry, I was trying to find a Pichu. Hold on, didn't anyone explain to you about tonight?
Oh yeah, right on time.
But to what exactly? Nebby, stay in the bag.
A full-power festival for Pokemon battling. We battle in the name of Tapu Koko, pitting our best moves against one another in friendly competition to please our guardian. Woo!
So, you two will be taking part in the battle? I don't like seeing Pokemon fight one another since they so often end up getting hurt, but I'll be sure to watch you both.
Your Pokemon have fought for you, so show them the same care in return, Marriland. Allow me to heal them for you this time. Are you ready for this Pokemon battle?
Yes.
Then let's begin. For all life on our islands, and for those who undertake the Island Challenge with joy in their hearts, we pray for your protection, for them and all Melee. May this Pokemon battle be an offering to our island's guardian deity, Tapu Koko. Before you stands Hao, grandson to the Kahuna.
Let's have fun with this, Poplio.
Before him stands Marriland, who is or one who has met with Tapu Koko.
What? What a curious little thing Tapu Koko is. Ha, that's just typical of it. Buneary, take care of my little Marriland. Yes, your mom actually is there. As long as we both have a good time, then I think we can call it a great battle, eh?
Marriland, how? Bring forth the power of your Pokemon.
Alright, so time to have yet another battle against your friend Hao. Well, kind of a friend. I don't really know him that well just yet, but yeah. He had no trouble getting his Pichu. This thing can actually be kind of annoying if you start with Popplio. It does have Thundershock, and it has Charm. And it has the static ability, so if you hit it with a physical move, there's a chance you may end up paralyzed, which will lower your speed and sometimes prevent you from attacking. Alright, so Charm's really nasty because it lowers your attack by 2 stages, effectively cutting it in half. And there's that Thundershock, which didn't actually hurt that badly. Hippiop actually has pretty good defense, and special defense. There we go. Alright, so setting out Popplio. Now at this point, I could switch out, but I'm actually going to stay in. And you know why? It's because experience points are not split whenever you switch out. If you're familiar with older Pokemon games before Pokemon X and Y, you may remember, oh yeah, you know, it'll cut the experience in half. You're dividing it. Well, in this case, you're not actually dividing it. So as long as I have both Pokemon participate in the battle, they'll gain the full amount of experience that they normally would have. Now, keep in mind, they will be gaining different amounts of experience because Ruffleshot is at a higher level, so he'll end up gaining less experience, but it's not because it was split or cut or anything like that. So that's why, as a general rule, if you can, trying to have, you know, at least 2 Pokemon in any battle isn't a bad idea, at least early on. Sometimes you might just not have that chance. There we go, well that went pretty well. And Hippiop even leveled up. Alright. Whew, that was awesome, Marriland! That was a really great battle, I had a blast fighting you!
It was a good battle. With this, even Tapu Koko.
Oh!
Oh, you heard it yourself. Tapu Koko's song of approval. Oh, I nearly forgot. I think it's time you take this, Marriland.
Alright, sick bracelet. The Z Power Ring.
Your Z Power Ring, a mysterious armband that can draw out the power that lies deep within Pokemon. It can bring forth their Z power. We Kahunas can make Z Power Rings using stones like the Sparkling Stone that you received from Tapu Koko. Though you will need to undergo the Island Challenge and collect Z Crystals for yourself if you wish to draw forth Pokemon Z Power. And yet you have already received that Sparkling Stone. It seems Tapu Koko took quite a liking to you, or perhaps it has a mission for you. Well, it's time for you to get out there and start your Island Challenge. If you visit every island, maybe you'll figure out what that mission is.
The Island Challenge?
4 islands. You'll travel to each of the 4 islands here in the Alola region. The Island Challenge is about aiming to be the strongest trainer, the Island Challenge champion. Woo!
Sounds great, right? I can't wait to have a real adventure.
But I'll let Kahuna Hala explain the details. The Island Challenge Kukui spoke of. It is a journey to overcome your own limitations as you travel the far corners of Alola and meet with others along the path. It is the great adventure that children in the Alola region embark upon, along with their Pokemon, once they reach 11 years of age. Allow me to give you both the Island Challenge amulets you will need.
Awesome, thanks, Tutu. I'm gonna make it through the Island Challenge and try to become an Island Challenge champion.
There is one for you as well, Marriland. Please do give the Island Challenge a try.
All right.
Yeah, doing the Island Challenge is the best way to really get to know Alola.
Tapu Koko is amazing, isn't it? I hope I can meet it again someday and thank it for saving Nebby. Me too. It saved you as well, didn't it? And left you with that sparkling stone, even though you're a stranger to this place.
Suppose it's time we get you kids home, yeah?
Nebby, Alola is full of all kinds of wonders, isn't it? Captain, I was able to detect high levels of aura at this full-powered festival.
I suppose you would. According to our earlier research, it seems that the Z Power Ring and this Tapu Koko creature are bathed in a great deal of light. Alola overflows with the light that was released by the Blinding One. I find myself rather envious.
I wonder if we can't find some way to use the great power that fills Alola for ourselves.
That is precisely what we, the Ultra Recon Squad, are here to make clear. Onward! There is still so much of Alola we have not yet seen, and we must investigate it all.
Honey, I'm home!
She calls her cat Honey.
Oh, Marriland, you're back already. I thought you'd want to stay in Iki Town longer.
Nah.
Especially right after that great Pokemon battle. Oh, I was just captivated to see my own boy fighting in such perfect sync with his partner. Maybe it would be a good idea for you to try that island challenge thing. It's something you can only do in Alola, right? But right now, I got a date with my bed. I danced my feet off at that festival. Night-night, sweetie. You should get some sleep, too.